Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and today's episode is with American Council of Engineering Companies of Colorado. I always want to say corporations, but that is always wrong. And today we're focusing on community impact of everyday engineering. And so ACEC Colorado just had their 2019 Engineering Excellence Awards. And so that was a really exciting ceremony that I got to be a part of. And I have some guests here that were winners of some awards. I'm going to introduce you guys one at a time. So I have Melyssa Lorenger. She is the Senior Project Manager at Martin and Martin. Now, is it Martin and Martin or just Martin Martin?
It's Martin-Martin.
Okay.
But we get a lot of different things. So
Okay.
I think you nailed it.
Awesome. Perfect. But you guys won the Excellence Award for the Canvas Stadium at Colorado State University.
Yes, we did. It's super exciting and an incredible honor.
Yes, it was. I was super cool. I got to see all these projects, which was really nice as well. I also have in studio with me Lindeen. He's the president at Providence Infrastructure Consultants. And you guys won the Excellence Award for WWTP Headworks and Clarifier Project.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and glad to get the award this year. Feel very honored as our company was able to present and show an award that really helped the community of Northglenn.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to hear more about these specific projects later, but I'm going to introduce my third guest who is joining us by phone because she is a very busy woman. This is Nancy Lambertson. She is a champion at Muller Engineering Company and the Grand Conceptor Award winner for linking Lookout US 6th and 19th Street Interchange. How are you doing, Nancy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate having you here. And I know that you want to talk about these projects a little bit more in depth than you got to at the award ceremony, but I think we should share some everyday engineering stories with a wider audience. And I'm excited to do that for you guys. But Nancy, I'm going to start here with you about your project. Again, that's the Linking Lookout US 6th and 19th Street Interchange. So go ahead and tell me about this project, why it needed to be done, and what the impact and outcome of that project was.
We at Muller Engineering have been working with the City of Golden for well over a decade on looking at the US 6 and State Highway 93 corridor along the west side of town. CDOT had been looking at expanding capacity, but Golden was really concerned about how it would continue to disconnect neighborhoods from the downtown core. This particular intersection was picked because it is not only where a lot of the Colorado School of Mines students cross to go to campus from their residence, but it's also a very highly traveled pedestrian and bicycle intersection. And so you can imagine standing on the corner of basically a 6-lane state highway, waiting on a tiny little concrete island, waiting for the light to go green and not sure if people are paying attention or how safe it is. And so they really viewed it as their first opportunity of incorporating this overall vision into their city of connecting neighborhoods back to the downtown and really creating a place for people to enjoy.
Absolutely. I like to think that Colorado is slowly becoming more pedestrian-minded, and so I like that you're on the forefront of that. So tell me exactly what your role was in this project.
I was very fortunate to be the project manager and actually just to be able to lead a fantastic team, a multidisciplined, multi-firm team to bring this to fruition. So essentially, Golden teamed with CDOT, the Colorado Department of Transportation, to take this intersection and make it into an interchange. And so I was responsible not only for keeping the overall project schedule and budget going, but also within Muller, we did the roadway and ramp designs for US 6. We were responsible for some water quality design. And then probably the biggest thing that the public would be interested in is we were responsible for all the construction phasing. So that's figuring out how traffic is going to be moving while construction is going on.
Is that typical for most engineering companies to take on that part of it too, or is that usually a CDOT or whichever transportation company is involved? Is that usually their role?
Generally, it is whoever's company, or in this case, it might be one partner. But generally, whoever is doing the design will also perform the phasing aspect of it. And this was a little different in that we actually built the ramps of the interchange first and ran all the traffic on those, and then built the highway and dug out underneath the bridge. So that was, in my opinion, the exciting portion of the project. It's an opportunity to do something that we...
Oh, we lost you a little bit.
Alex, a lot of times the reason why the engineers are doing the phasing design is because there's design involved as well, because you have to have a temporary road or temporary access path or something to connect the dots while the construction is going on. So a lot of times that does fall into the engineer's scope. But you're right in that oftentimes it's the public companies that are considering the phasing of it as well.
Wonderful. That is good to know. Thank you. I appreciate that insight very much so. We're going to try to get Nancy back here, but in the meantime, we'll go ahead with you, Melyssa, and we'll talk about this canvas stadium at CSU, which Colorado, we got some big football fans here, right?
Yes.
It's the home of the Broncos, and we have lots of colleges that are pretty competitive. So tell me about this stadium.
Yeah, it was a vision by CSU to bring football back to the main campus. It had been played off-site at Hughes Stadium, and Hughes Stadium was kind of iconic to CSU. It was loved by CSU fans because it was just like this massive, imposing structure in a giant parking lot. So people had great memories there, but it kind of had outlived its life, and it was getting to be very expensive to maintain. So they were putting so much money into this old structure. So they really had this vision of bringing football back to campus, have it integrated into the main campus, and having it part of the active lifestyle of the students there. So the vision was that it was a 365 day a year facility, so it was always being used, always being accessed by people. So the vision came to life. We started the project back in 2012 and did a due diligence study to see if it was even possible, because you think football facilities are massive, and CSU has a developed campus that's very beautiful. It's used every single day. Where do you put this massive facility? So that was a big part of the design and considerations was, where do we put it? And how do you plug that into the existing infrastructure on campus? So that was a big part of it. And yeah, we started back in 2012, and we played our first game there last August of 2017. So it was very exciting.
Please tell me you got to go to that game.
I did.
Okay,
I did.
good. Yeah, all that work, and
did.
You need to be there for that first game.
Yep, and that long of a project, the team becomes family because you're working together so closely and for such a long period of time. I think we had a count of like 12 babies born on the project team.
Wow.
We had tons of CSU alumni, so you get to know people very well. So we had a big celebration, the opening game, and I think we had a tailgate of like 500 people, and it was just really energetic, and it was so cool to see the campus come to life when football was played there that first time in August.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I bet that was super exciting. So I got, as I mentioned earlier, I got a chance to go to these awards, and it was really cool to see you guys win and talk about your projects and see the pride that everybody has when they're at these awards. And one of the things that you said that struck me was that you spent literally probably half of your career on this one project, and I think that's really cool to see. So not only were you a part of this huge project, it was you grew up with it.
I did, yes. Yeah. I learned a lot on it. I mean, I had knowledge going into it.
Of course, yes, please don't get me wrong.
But there's so many things you learn, and especially sports facilities. It's a different type of design. There's some really special and unique characteristics about sports facilities. So it was just so cool to be a part of, and like you said, grow up with. I have 12 years under my belt doing engineering, but I spent 5 of it doing the design of the stadium, and just so cool to be a part of. On top of that, I'm alumni. I went to CSU, so even more exciting to be part of something that was my alma mater.
Yeah, well, you had those memories, as you mentioned at the beginning of your story. At the old stadium, of course, you're going to have memories, but that's really cool to be a part of the new memories.
I remember some of the early conversations in design. The architect is out of Kansas City. They do stadiums. They're an incredible firm, and a lot of the early discussions was like, Well, we're talking about bringing beer and having concessions with beer. And I'm like, well, there has to be beer. Like, Hughes Stadium had beer. We have to have beer. That's no question.
Yeah,
and I felt
no-brainer.
more passionate about topics that a civil engineer wouldn't have any input in.
Right.
Because it was, my home. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also just known for beer. How many
Right.
breweries did we have? Over 300, right?
Especially Fort Collins. Yes,
Exactly.
The Mecca. Yeah.
It is the Mecca.
Yeah.
So what exactly was your role specifically within this project?
Yes, I was the project manager. So I led the design. I had a small team, about 3 or 4 people working on it, and we were not working on it every day for 5 years. It stopped and started. We were waiting for the clear on funding. We were waiting for the go-ahead. We were reviewing things. So it wasn't every day hands-on 4 people all at once, but I did have a team. I had my associate on the project was the engineer of record, Phil Kriebel, so I worked with him, and we worked through the design. In civil engineering, we did everything outside of the building to the property line. So the roadways, all the utilities underground, drainage was a big component of the design.
imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just really cool. It's a lot of things that you don't think about, right?
Yes.
Going into this project.
Yes.
I never even thought about the drainage, but that's super important on a football field.
It is. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And it's a turf field, so it has a drainage layer through it, and everything goes underground. But a lot of what we do in civil engineering is underground, and it gets buried, so it gets forgotten. But that's kind of what we like. We want it to run perfectly, and you never notice that it's there.
Yeah, because if you do notice that it's there,
There's
that
a problem.
inevitably means something's wrong.
Is a problem.
All right, that is lovely. So you had the first game last August in
Yes.
2017. How is this year? What kind of feedback are you getting from faculty and staff and students?
Yeah, so there was a lot of community involvement with this facility, as you can imagine. Football fans are passionate. CSU is a passionate place. The city of Fort Collins has very passionate people, and because it was such a high dollar amount that we were spending, there was a lot of community feedback and a lot of input on it, and I think oftentimes the source of the funding was misunderstood. So the owner's representation for the project, CA Icon, did a fantastic job of leading community meetings and making the public really aware of what was happening and where that money was coming from. And I think there were a lot of concerns, always with a facility where you have 40,000 people coming at once. There's traffic concerns, there's pedestrian access concerns, there's noise and lighting and so many things that the public can raise their hand and be like, we're not okay with that. So it was really important for us to address all of those concerns, and the community really took to the stadium. Traffic hasn't been an issue. Yes, parking hasn't been an issue, and the city of Fort Collins has been really positive about what the stadium has done, and it has been really cool to see. I like to be in an Uber or something on my way there, or just casually in Fort Collins, like bringing it up, like, oh, how has game days affected you, or what's your opinion? And it's fun to see the public have a real positive opinion about it.
That is really, I'm sure that's super rewarding, especially for how much you worked on that and how hard you worked on that for as long as you did. And I'm actually, because you had to have all the forums with the public, I'm surprised it only took 5 years, really. That can be a bit of a challenge when you're working with the public on projects like this.
Yeah, we like working with the passionate community. I think it's good.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well said. I like that. Well, Lee, I'm going to talk over here with you. And
Sure.
again, Providence Infrastructure Consultants and WWTP Headworks and Clarifier Project. So tell me what that was and where we're at with it.
All right.
Well, we're done with it. So what's going on now?
Yeah, maybe not a topic a lot of people talk about or hear about very often, but this was a project that really solved a problem due to growth. And just a little background on the city of Northglenn. It was founded in 1959, and at that time, if you're familiar with Denver, it's up at about 114th and I-25. It was kind of a new development at that point, and to deal with their wastewater in the city's system, they decided that they would convey or pump the wastewater once they collected it north about 9 miles out in the country where nobody lived and treated at a treatment facility there. So it made sense. They tried to get anything that might be a problem in terms of, sometimes wastewater treatment plants have a little bit of odor associated with them. So they tried to get it well away from town so people wouldn't be bothered by it. Well, fast forward about 50 years, and the city of Denver has grown north, and now we're up at like 168th and I-25 where the wastewater facility currently sits. And if you've been up there, there's a big shopping area there now at 168th and I-25. Yeah, there's a Starbucks there and places to eat. And there also are some housing developments that are starting very near where this wastewater treatment facility had been or is at. And so the housing development started in about 2002 is when they started the dense housing developments. Before that, there are some rural farm type residences nearby. But the new development started, and I'm not even sure if the people that were moving into the homes realized there was a wastewater treatment facility like a half mile from their home.
Which is nice, considering how much it could potentially be olfactory bothersome.
Yes, right, yes. Exactly. So as an engineer, kind of realizing the problem that these people were facing, because I think a lot of them probably moved into the neighborhood, and because the odors only occur certain times of the year, they probably didn't even realize, the situation, their proximity to the wastewater treatment facility. So after the development started, the city of Northglenn started having people complain from the homeowners association, whatever, hey, what can you do about this? It had always been that way. It's just now we had new homes, close by. So that's how the project started. The city wanted to solve this problem with the wastewater plant so that you could really make these people feel more at home in their homes, not have to deal with odors from the wastewater plant and that type of thing. So that's how the project started for us. And from there, we worked on a design that would eliminate these odors kind of leaving the plant and causing, smells that people weren't used to, around their homes. So
right. Yeah. Well, and I think it's, again, engineering, everyday engineering, right? This isn't something that you necessarily think an engineer would have to deal with, but it is very much a big project that would be needed in the engineering world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people don't realize wastewater treatment plants, they're really there to keep the environment clean, the water in the environment clean, because most people don't think about what happens when they use the restroom or use their kitchen or whatever. Yeah. But that water has to go somewhere, and if we just send it right back into the environment, it would cause big problems.
Yes, it would.
So we have these wastewater treatment facilities that clean the water, so when it's put back in the stream, it doesn't harm the fish. People can swim or whatever downstream of where it goes in, and we preserve the environment essentially.
Right, it's eco-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's very true. So tell me more about your specific role within this project.
Sure. My role was project principal on the project, and I had a project manager, Andrew Rice, who works for our firm, who kind of directed the day-to-day activities. But my job was to kind of oversee everything that was going on. We had a contractor partner, Moltz Construction, who worked very well with us, and the city of Northglenn. And we did the project in a contract mode that's called a construction manager at risk. It's a design build type construction method. And you may have heard that. Different engineering firms or contractors will use that firm. But the idea is that everybody works together as a team to try to come up with the best solutions during construction, and also reduce the overall cost of the project.
Yes. Now, you mentioned working with the city as well. Did you, I would imagine these people were a little bit more, I don't want to use the term angry, but less as enthused than they would be about a football stadium.
Passionate.
Passionate, yes. I'm sure they were just as passionate, but for a different reason, yes.
Well, the interesting thing is the people that were bothered were not residents of Northglenn. They were residents of an adjoining city. So there were some politics at the higher level involved of trying to solve this problem. So the people we worked with, the city, were actually the engineers in their department, the public works director, and even we had presentations before the council to try to tell them how things were going and how the project was going to solve these problems.
Wow. Yeah. And clearly you did solve this problem. So what kind of feedback did you get from this project? I'm imagining you got a lot of pats on the back.
We did from the city itself,
Good.
but
Okay.
it's like most public works projects in water, wastewater we deal with. If there's not an issue, you usually don't hear from people. It's when there's a problem that you hear from people.
No news is good news.
Yeah, no news is good news.
Yeah.
But since then, the city has not had the intensity of the complaints and everything from the neighborhood. So we think things are going well. People are no longer bothered by the smell from the wastewater plant.
Well, that is wonderful. So I like that you guys both had really good endings to your projects here. I'm gonna start here with you. What do you have on the horizon? What does Martin have on the horizon?
Oh gosh.
Or if you're not allowed to tell me, that's fine too.
Yes, no, I would love to tell you.
Yes.
Yes, I am one small part of Martin. We have about 250 employees, so my work is a fraction of what we do, but I'm enthusiastic about Northern Colorado because it's my home. So I do a lot of work in Northern Colorado. I work out of our Fort Collins office a couple days a week. So we're growing that office up there. And CSU has a lot of work, and they've been keeping me busy. So I'm managing on the civil engineering side the two projects at National Western for CSU.
Oh, cool.
So the Water Resources Center and the Animal Health Building. So fortunate to get those projects and work, just here in Denver. And CSU hired owner's representative, CA Icon, again for that one. So it's a lot of the same team as the CSU Stadium, which is pretty exciting. We get to continue our work together. Additionally, there's about half a dozen projects I have at CSU as well, and we're the on-call engineer for CSU for civil engineering. So when they have roadway needs or utility needs, they give us a call and we can do that work as well. So that's a small fraction of what we're doing. We won the Engineering Excellence Award as well for the 1144 project, which was awesome at ACEC.
Yes.
So we do a lot of work here in Denver and in the metro area, and then we have 5 other offices as well. So we're kind of scattered everywhere.
Yeah, well, wonderful, and good luck on your future project.
Thank you.
Yes, and Lee, tell me what's on the horizon for Providence.
Yeah, well, Providence, we're a firm that strictly works in the water area, and if you're from Colorado, water is a scarce commodity, and it continues to be scarce as our population grows. So we're happy we have a lot of work because that means there's a lot of problems to be solved. But we do a lot of work. We have some big projects now with long pipelines that move water we're working on one from Castle Rock out to a development called Dominion. That's a large pipeline to move water to get it to where people are living. We're working on treatment facilities for the city of Greeley on the water treatment side to provide clean water for people as their communities grow. And we do studies on different types of water projects to help. We're doing some work up in Salida and also Buena Vista just to help them look forward to their handling their growth in terms of water treatment and wastewater treatment. So there's plenty of work in the Denver area in the type that we do.
I love that. Well, thank you both so much. I'm going to try to get Nancy back on for this second segment, so stay with us here on Connect and Collaborate. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. Check out this podcast and more at cobrt.com/radio-podcast. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And welcome back to Connect and Collaborate. Once again, I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and today we are talking with American Council of Engineering Companies of Colorado and their award winners, their excellence and their engineering excellence awards. And so I was able to successfully get Nancy Lambertson back on the phone with me again. She's with Muller Engineering Company and the Grand Conceptor Award winner. Her team was the Grand Conceptor Award winner for linking Lookout US 6th and 19th Street interchange. And again, that was a project that had Boulder and CDOT partnering with you guys. And so, Nancy, if you don't mind starting over, I guess, a little bit with us and telling us all about your project and the outcome of that.
Yes. Well, first of all, I apologize to everyone, much like, when the dishwasher goes on the fritz, sometimes your cell phone just decides to drop. But just starting with, once again, it really this project came out of working with Golden for well over a decade. But they were really the driving force behind this and the vision of wanting to take an intersection at grade that was signalized, make it into an interchange, but not just any interchange. They wanted to make it safer for pedestrians, for bicyclists, and for vehicles. They also wanted to provide a connection between their neighborhoods and their downtown core, but then they also really wanted to make a statement. They wanted to provide an infrastructure project that would create a sense of space and place and that the community could really rally behind.
Which is wonderful, and that's awesome that you got to be a part of it. And just in case our audience doesn't remember, one of the things that you were talking about was this was really helpful for the students. It's right there by the School of Mines, and so it was kind of a shady intersection, if you will, before you guys got there, right?
Yes, not only do we have the students on one side of the highway having to cross to go to class every day, a couple of times a day, but also, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, there's a very popular 6th Avenue Regional Trail along US 6 in that area in Golden. And then a lot of bicyclists like to travel up Lookout Mountain. In fact, we did some traffic counts of not only vehicles, but pedestrians and bicyclists. And on a typical Saturday during the summer, you can have well over 1,000 bicyclists going through this intersection. So not only is it to provide them a safe spot, it just addressed an existing crash history between these vehicles and bicyclists.
So you would say that you're maybe in the field of saving lives as well? Or maybe I should just say that for you.
Yes.
So tell me exactly what your role was, Nancy, with this project.
I was the project manager. We had a multi-firm, multi-discipline team but I was responsible overall for taking the project from concept through final design and then delivering it to the contractor for both the city. Our clients were both the City of Golden and CDOT.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit more about your team and how well you work together. How long exactly was this project?
City of Golden actually received funding from CDOT, and they received $20 million from CDOT. They put in a $4 million match, and Colorado School of Mines put in some money. And there was a timeline on this grant money from CDOT, so we had to have the interchange substantially completed by the end of 2017. And so we started in June of 2014. Basically started as a concept, really just an idea I'm serious when I say on the back of a bar napkin, a couple of lines sketched up. We had to take all of that through design, and then in partnership with the contractor, who was Kramer North America, we worked in concert throughout the design to make sure that the construction went as smoothly as possible. And so some of our other major partners on this project were IMEG, who did the stormwater drainage and 19th Street design. Lorenger and Associates was responsible for the design of the bridge. And to explain to everyone who is listening, this is a 280-foot wide bridge. The roadway is only on the south third of the bridge, so essentially you have almost 200 feet of park space on top of a bridge, so it is not your typical highway bridge design. And then we also had MIG, who was responsible for the lovely design on top of the bridge as far as the mountain park feel and aesthetic. And then we also had ERO Resources on board, who helped us going through NEPA or environmental clearances, making sure we dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's for CDOT.
Which is, I would imagine, probably the hardest part, is being that CDOT has so many regs on them. Yeah.
There was a lot of that. Also, as a part of getting the grant, Golden promised that they would stay within the existing right-of-way, the existing property line. So that meant that we were basically taking an intersection, digging down 25 feet to put a highway bridge in, but then we also had to tie in kind of at the base of Lookout Mountain. So from an engineering standpoint, that was very complicated, but also a fun 3D puzzle to figure out.
I would imagine puzzles have to be a little bit of a hobby of most engineers. So you mentioned the word that your project had to be substantially done by 2017. Can you define what that means for me?
So a lot of times when you're working on construction, it'll be open, pretty much everything will be finished. Maybe you're finishing a little bit of landscaping. It might be, like in this case, we wanted until spring to plant some of the final shrubs, just because maybe it wasn't going to work out for that time period. But generally it means that everything is open, everything is operating, there just might be a few minor things to be taken care of down the road.
Awesome. Okay. Just for my own peace of mind, I needed to know exactly what that meant and what all of that entailed. Also,
Well, we engineers are not always good about using layman speak.
Well, that is why I'm here, to make sure that we get those points out. I appreciate that. So what kind of feedback are you getting from the community about this? I assume the students are excited they can cross the road with less chance of getting hit, and I'm assuming that the bicyclists are excited as well to be able to have that back on their, the big mountain biking Lookout Mountain up there. I'm sure they're happy to have a little more space for themselves.
It was really an ongoing process. Golden and the team, we were just very good about continuously reaching out to the public, having public meetings, reaching out to the stakeholders, even from construction standpoint, Twitter, email blasts, Facebook updates. And so I can tell you that I heard from the city of Golden they got less than 100 complaints during construction, which is very unusual on a project of this size. And now that it's been open for over a year, I'm not saying that there's not everybody out there likes it, because you always have one person who might be a little cranky, but overall the feedback that we've gotten, the bicyclists love it. It gives them a lot more options. Mines is very happy about how much safer it is for their students to cross, because essentially each crossing is only one lane. The locals like it because it has slowed traffic down. We purposely designed it to be more of a low-speed urban setting, so cars are going through there at 25 miles an hour, whereas before it might have been 55 miles an hour. So overall, the feedback that we've gotten from everyone has been very positive. We did some follow-up studies from a noise standpoint and actually reduced the noise basically where the intersection was quite substantially, and that was also one of Golden's goals.
Well, check off all your boxes. That's really exciting. Thank you, Nancy. And again, you were the winner of the Grand Conceptor Award at the Engineering Excellence Awards put on by ACEC Colorado. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit and open this back up to you guys, an overall discussion here. But Nancy, I'm going to start with you. What was the most challenging aspect of your project?
Challenging, but also an opportunity probably was the overall schedule. I will tell you that one thing I learned on this project is that if everyone, and this means the client, the engineers, the contractor, can coalesce around vision and everyone gets on board, it actually makes life a lot easier because everyone is operating in a mindset of true collaboration. Probably the other stepping stone for us as far as complexity was, some might say the engineering, but it was mostly the public involvement. Golden has a very active community who are very eager to give their opinions, and so in a good way, it was a little bit more effort on our part to make sure that we were doing the appropriate renderings, videos, things, tools of that aspect to make sure that they understood what it was going to be at the end, because this definitely was not a typical design, and a lot of people had trouble picturing how it was going to operate. So that aspect of it going through the design is making sure that we had all the public on board really helped us kind of get an energy and a momentum behind it throughout the project.
Nice. How did your team come to that conclusion to make sure that everyone got on board and they were all on the same page? I can't imagine that's an easy task.
I'm going to credit the city of Golden with this. That is their philosophy. They are very big on answering questions from their citizens. They are very outcomes-based, wanting to make sure that we meet the goals of not only of it from a technical engineering standpoint, but also really what the community feels is important. So it was at the beginning, before we even actually had a concept, we held a public meeting saying, what are the most important aspects do you want to get out of this project? What are the issues that you see? And that really helped when we were going through brainstorming, coming up with alternatives to make sure that we were always pointing back to those outcomes and not coming into anything with a predetermined mindset.
Wonderful. I'm so proud of your team, and again, congratulations on your award. Melyssa, switching over to you, and again, with Martin & Martin, and Excellence Award winner for the Canvas Stadium at CSU. What was your toughest challenge for that project?
You know, the stadium project had a lot of challenges. I think the most interesting opportunity we had involved sanitary sewer. We put a stadium online on an active campus, and a lot of the sanitary lines on campus were undersized because they came before the stadium, so they weren't designed to support 40,000 people rushing to the bathroom at halftime and using that little break. So the halftime flush was an interesting challenge with the stadium.
You dubbed it the halftime flush.
The halftime flush.
I like that.
The halftime flush, yes. So it's the peak demand that you have to design for. And we installed about 2,000 feet of off-site sanitary line and upsized some lines. We worked with the city of Fort Collins to put this line in the neighboring neighborhoods, the Shealy neighborhood. So we were able to provide relief to the campus lines and upsize some lines for future development. So we feel like it was a success. And a lot of times we say no news is good news. That first game, we did a couple trial runs. The first game, the city had personnel stationed at all of the manholes downstream because we never had 40,000 people there flushing the toilets at halftime, and it went off without a hitch. And the stadium is successfully online on the city system.
So did you have 40,000 people flush at once? I guess I don't.
You designed for the worst. So we increased the number of bathrooms from Hughes Stadium, and we added more facilities there. So you don't actually have 40,000 people, but you designed for the worst, and everyone rushes. So we're able to support that.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's I guess speaking. So do they flush on their own? No. I guess mechanics-wise is where I was getting at. Did you just have a bunch of arms connected that all flushed at once?
Yeah, as a trial run.
Yes.
And it's usually a big celebration.
The
contractor invites people over, and we all run around flushing toilets.
Okay.
And it's a trial run, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Literally, the mechanics of that is that. Now I know how that's tested.
They call that trial run the super flush. So we invite our friends, you run around, you flush some toilets, and
What a job. What an exciting part of the job. That's probably my favorite part. So, Lee, same question here. What was the most challenging for you on your WWTP Headworks Clarifier Project? Again, you are with Providence Infrastructure Consultants.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the most challenging part for us was keeping the facility operating while we did the construction. The original facility had as I mentioned before, a pressurized 27-inch diameter pipe filled with wastewater going to two treatment ponds, and the key part of our project was to take those ponds offline, drain them so there was no more odor, but then take that flow and put it through a new facility that captured the odor and treated it with air ionization. It's a process that is kind of like ozone or lightning that kind of electrically charges and destroys the odor. But the challenge was we had to switch from an existing pipe flowing full of wastewater and take it in a new direction to a new building, all without shutting the pipe off. So it was a very elaborate process of building a bypass around the pipeline before we actually turned it over to the new facility. But everybody, the city was everybody was, I guess, on pins and needles and a little worried that can we pull this off without something blowing apart and all of a sudden we have wastewater everywhere. And of course, you can't ask people to just stop, using facilities for a day or two while you do this. So it was a tough thing, but we were able to pull it off. We didn't have any leaks or any spills at all, and kudos to the contractors involved that they were able to do that, as well as a lot of planning that went along with that.
I'm sure the planning was a huge part of that. What kind of precautions did you have to take to make sure that none of the leaks happened?
Well, we actually did dig a big hole where this was done, so if it did leak, we'd have a place to capture it and then take it and pump it back through the plant and treat it. That was one of the biggest precautions. But it went off without a hitch. We were pretty relieved when it was all over that we were able to get it done.
All right. Are you confident in yourselves that you'd be able to do that again?
Oh, yeah. We discovered in doing research, and I'm sure other engineers too have been through this, where you research something and it works, and then you kind of build your resume, so to speak, of knowing how to do something and repeating it in the future.
Wonderful. I've never talked so much about wastewater, I don't believe, and it's fascinating, actually. I'm enjoying this conversation. Gonna change gears just one more time again before the end of the show. Nancy, I have about 7 minutes here with you. Well, not all yours. That's what's left in the show, I should tell you. But what kind of advice would you give to up-and-coming engineers?
Well, I'm a little disappointed I don't have the whole 7 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
I'll get over it. Really, I would think engineering is, there's a lot of technical aspect to it. We spend a lot of time studying math and science and all these other technical classes in school. There's a lot of spreadsheets, but I would probably say the most important thing is just to come in with an open mind. We're entering such a wide open field right now with the advent of technology and new services such as drones, and then incorporating more GIS, that just keep an open mind. It figures, throw something at the wall, see if it sticks. I would say ask the question, why not, as opposed to why we can't.
I love that. Thank you very much. And Melyssa, your advice?
I really liked what Nancy said. Keep an open mind, be creative, be ready for anything. A lot of times engineering is very technical, but the projects that we're doing are in a very non-technical world. You're presenting to owners, you're presenting to the public, and you have to present it in a way that people can understand. So we're not really trained in that. So to be able to speak to people about what you're doing and show your involvement and show your enthusiasm and passion is something that they don't teach you in school. So I think just, be ready for anything and be ready for the non-technical piece of it.
Right. Lee?
Yeah, I think the thing I would say to young people considering engineering, and you've heard it from the three of us talking about our projects, is that at the heart of what we do, we're trying to make people's lives better by actually constructing facilities that they enjoy, that makes their lives easier, that keeps them safe. And so I think as an engineer, that's one thing I like about our profession, is that we're really thinking about the community and how to make their lives better for them. And so that's I think people that get into engineering, that at the heart of it, that's what they really enjoy, is helping other people.
Wow, very well said. Thank you guys for all of your advice. We've got just a few minutes left here in the program, and you might have noticed I have somebody new in the room here with me. This is Heidi Gordon. She is with ACEC Colorado, so again, American Council of Engineering Companies of Colorado, and we want to talk about these Engineering Excellence Awards. Yes.
So we've been doing the awards for nearly 60 years, almost as long as we've had our association here in Colorado. And this year was one of our largest set of entries. We had 25 entries, so all of these award winners and the rest of everyone should be very applauded for their work. And I think the thing that I love most about the awards is that it's a way to showcase kind of that invisible world we talk about in engineering, and how the water just comes out and doesn't have an odor, or that you can flush the toilets at halftime, or that, there's not all these accidents. That somebody designed this and put a lot of thought and time into it, and these things just don't happen that we often take for granted in today's world, especially.
Yes.
And that, these projects take years in the making, some of them, as we talked about. So it's a great way for us to recognize and honor innovation kind of in that invisible world. And we're very pleased to have all these wonderful projects, and we try to recognize them. We have a YouTube channel on acec-co.org. You can access all the 25 videos of our project winners, including the 3 firms who are here today, and they're just about a minute long each. So if you want to get a visual, there's pictures of the projects, and the engineer who was in charge of the project, like today, talking about it. So that's kind of exciting, and you can see kind of what goes into it. But ACEC Colorado, as we've talked about before when we've been on the show, we have about 240 member firms in the state of Colorado, and they're all consulting engineering firms that either work on the public or private side, horizontal or vertical, we like to say. So everything from water engineers to civil, geotech, structural, MEP, you name it, transportation engineers, anyone who works basically on building a better environment for us all to live in.
Yeah. Wonderful. And you have such a great organization. I was super honored to be invited to the awards ceremony, and it was really awesome to see everyone there. Marilyn Reamer, who's also with ACEC Colorado, she said it perfectly when she said that you guys are very humble about your work. And you are. It's something that we don't think about, I think, as civilians every day. I never once imagined everybody flooding to a bathroom at halftime at a football game. I didn't even think about interchanges and how much you're saving noise pollution, right? And slowing people down for safety. It's not something that I think about every day. And so you guys don't pat yourselves on the back enough. So thank you very much for what you do. You make great contributions to Colorado, and engineers nationwide, of course, obviously do as well. But thank you all very much for your contributions. Again, Nancy Lambertson with Muller Engineering Company and the Grand Consumptor Award winner for linking lookout US 6th and 19th Street Interchange, Melyssa Lorenger, Senior Project Engineer at Martin, and Excellence Award winner for the Canvas Stadium at CSU, and Lindeen, President at Providence Infrastructure Consultants and the Excellence Award winner for WWTP Headworks and Clarifier Project. And I conveniently put all of these videos and all of your companies up at cobrt.com/radio-podcast. You can find this show and more there, which is really exciting. And so you can see all of your snippets to your little 1-minute videos as well. Thank you for joining me today, you guys, and hopefully you'll get some more awards next year too, right?
Yeah, and thank you so much for having us and kind of highlighting engineering for the community, and for ACEC for all they do for us as engineers. We really appreciate them too.
Yes, wonderful. And we will be back next month with another show with ACEC Colorado. Have a great day. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube page while you're here. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.